Now, I'd like to move to the next item on the agenda, which is approval of the aggregation of institutions. I'd like to ask for your approval. Number of requests have been made. In your folder, you should have the list of these institutions, with the one with the yellow on top. I'd like to remind you of the content of this list. So there has been a request for aggregation for a conference in Australia and in Oceania, as we know. We have also had a request for aggregation of 45 conferences in Brazil, 2 conferences in Burkina Faso, 1 conference in Canada, 1 in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, 2 in France, 1 in Grenada, 1 in Guatemala, 35 in India, 11 in Kenya, 41 in Burmania, Myanmar, 2 in Paraguay, 1 in Peru, 2 in Portugal, 1 in St. Lucia, 28 in the United States. So it's a total of 175 requests for aggregation. I'd like to ask if we can approve that. On the table next to that, there's more precise comments on the conditions in which comments that are providing characteristics on these conferences. Now, as usual, there's an excellent Vincentian drive in Brazil and in India, and also, yes, there's a considerable number of requests in Burmania, and that's wonderful. I'd also like to congratulate the United States in the growth in the number of conferences. So I would like to give you the floor to see if you have any comments on these aggregations. Would anyone like to take the floor on this subject? If there are no specific comments, then I would like to ask you. Oh no, yes, there is.
Like clarification on Brazil, the Mini Vinis conference, is that one that is being aggregated or one of the unsuccessful ones?
Si, il y a 45 conférences.
45 conferences.
The Mini Vinis conference, is the Mini Vinis conference being aggregated?
Oui.
That's good, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you have 2 figures. There are the figures where we have requests, and those are others where we propose an aggregation. That's the second column where I'm asking for your approval. Yes, and it's one of them, yes. Any other comments?
Maybe some people are not used to this table, right? For Brazil, I've just noticed that the conferences that they were not aggregated and approved, that means that they have been previously approved. So this is no duplication, so to speak. So the control area is now informing all these. 13 conferences had already previously been aggregated. So that's the reason why we have a kind of refusal here. They had been aggregated. So I don't know if this is a matter of control for the Council General, whether we are duplicating these forms. But what we saw is that for this meeting, 13 conferences that Brazil had already been aggregated. So that's the reason why this figure does not, of course, combine with the aggregation. But like Australia was saying, there is in fact a conference for youth, for teenagers and children. And today we have this aggregation house also for these youth populations. So Brazil has a vast experience with these conferences. So it is an aggregation of this conference with, I would say, age range of 11.
On the report and activities for 2018 from Julien, we'll talk about that tomorrow because I'm going to look at this report again. But there's differences in figures. Well, you've got the activity report. It's those that we're approving today. Julian's report is about 2018. So the 494 is for 2018? Yes, that's right. Oh yes, and those are the ones that we were adding to that. So from the first semester of 2019. Okay. Yeah, those are the ones that have not yet been aggregated, and so for 2018, are those the ones who have been aggregated in 2018, and we need then to add to that. The idea is adding further ones. Are there any other comments? If not, then I'd ask if we can approve this list of aggregations. Is anyone against? Abstentions? Okay, it's been unanimously approved, and I'd like to thank you. This is a good sign of the health of this society, and we can see there's a real drive in certain countries, and we can be happy about that.